Hi everyone, it's Patricia Worby Alchemy Therapies here, and just another in my regular series of podcasts and videos. And today I wanted to talk about an aspect of healing that few people talk about. In fact, it's completely absent from the discussion in modern medicine, and that's a sense of spirituality. And I mean spirituality with a small s. In other words, we're not talking about contacting spirits or anything of that nature. We're talking about the essential idea that as human beings, we are mind, body, and spirit, that when we come into the world, something infuses us that is beyond the physical, and that probably the greatest experiences of your life will be emotional ones. Things like the birth of a child or the death of someone you love, the connection you have with your loved ones, with animals even, is a spiritual experience. And it's very much an important part of maintaining well-being and health. If you only look at the body as a material thing that is infused perhaps with, a nervous system that functions, and it's all molecules and chemicals moving around the body, then you're missing a really big part of how and why people get sick. You see, we are biopsychosocial creatures. We interact with our environments, with the biology, with the psychology, and also with the interconnectedness, the social aspect of all of us. And social connection is not through molecules and material things at all. It's actually both an electromagnetic or energy component, but there's also something beyond that, even that a consciousness that we share with all living things. Now, perhaps if you're surprised to hear me talk about this because I generally deal with health and well-being, well, that just goes to show how far this division into kind of what we call the Cartesian split, where physical things are dealt with by medicine, and then spiritual things are dealt with by, religion. And that actually has played down the years, the last 200 or 300 years, into the way we see health, in that medicine only deals with the physical. And so this aspect of consciousness or spirit is completely missing from the dialogue, and it's completely missing from health, which is a real shame, because actually when we do connect with each other and when we do connect with our true self, in other words, the self that we really are, rather than the one that we adapted to be through our conditioning or our training. When we came into the world, we had this potential to be something. And then things happen to us that change our experience of ourselves. And this is really what trauma is. Trauma or unresolved emotions are not the event themselves. They are the way in which we metabolize the event, we make meaning of it. And that is a spiritual experience. It involves an interpretation of the mind and body and spirit. And if we don't look at this, then we can't actually find out what's going on when we get ill. Because often when we get ill, it's the misinformation that we absorbed when we were young about the meaning of things, about who we are in this life and how we show up, that plays itself out, causing all sorts of symptoms, because we are not in alignment with our true self. We are actually based on a personality that we adopted to survive. So even our personality is an adaptation to our environment, which may have enabled us to survive and become adult, but can often be really out of alignment with the truth or the authentic self. And so reconstructing ourselves is really what health and healing is all about. It isn't just about curing symptoms. It's about looking at the root causes of why we feel the way we do and coming into alignment with the truth of who we really are. And I've done a lot of work on this. I've actually created a course on the authentic self, which is available on Thinkific, and I'll put the link in below. but it's such an important thing that most people don't even consider. And strangely, the converse is also true. So within the spiritual community, if you like, within places that deal with health and healing on the spiritual level, places like meditation centers, yoga ashrams, and so on, there's often an unwillingness to look at the trauma component of some of the people that come and visit. And in fact, they don't really want to get down and dirty with the actual events of that person's life. They want people to transcend their trauma simply by overcoming it, by not looking at it. And so spirit is actually not dealt with in the way that it needs to be dealt with, as a biological entity that infuses the matter or the solidity of the human. It's dealt with as something, a bit of a nuisance and something in the way of transcending your body and becoming, enlightened. And that too doesn't work. And it actually is driven by a misunderstanding of what trauma is and how it needs to be dealt with through the body, absolutely somatically. A lot of the teachers in these places are not trauma informed, or they may be dealing with their own unconscious trauma. And this whole idea is called the spiritual bypass, where you basically just want to forget the difficulties that you've had or the suffering that you've had and somehow transcend it. But actually, the only transformation that's possible is through this sense that we are a body as well as a mind and a spirit. And we have to inhabit all three. This is really, really important. And so my understanding really is that this disconnect between these three things is at the source or at the heart of many issues that people suffer. And I'll be talking a lot more in other videos about this, but I just wanted to introduce this idea that spirit is really key. It's something that we don't often consider, and it absolutely needs to be dealt with as the source of your real identity, the person you actually are. And a lot of people haven't a clue who they really are. I certainly didn't have that. And I'm only just learning. It's an ongoing process of alignment. When you find what you're passionate about, what your heart really sings with, then you're getting closer to your real self. And you're getting the ego out of the way. And ego is the sort of adapted self that wants to tell you, do this, don't do that. It's very powerful, but it's actually not that accurate. And sometimes, as I've said, is conditioned by your past experience, which may have been overwhelming or difficult. And so it's misinformation about the truth of you. So I'm at the moment writing about this as part of the emotional audit program. And you can see I've got my poster behind me, which is a 14-module program, which we're currently developing. The founder members have already started and are helping me with input and feedback. But if you'd like to get involved, it's not too late. You can still join. So I'll put the link to that below as well. All right. Well, take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.